Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 19th of March. It's FOMC day, so let's get into things. So, quick recap of yesterday. So, it took a couple of days for us to get through what is now a 9-day composite between 81.5 and 84.5. We came into the composite lows, consolidated around the lows, and I wondered if we were going to break down. In the end, it was actually a screaming long. So, we had the confluence of the developing month's value lows. So, we got this return pullback effectively into the developing month's value low. And things were looking pretty supportive at the lows, so we had a good favourable book skew, decent amount of liquidations on this wick, and a good reset of OI. So we're now just seeing that reversion through this composite again, starting to run into a little bit of trouble, but the expectation should be that we make it through value at least, and based on VWAP, the next target would be monthly VWAP, which would potentially take out last week's highs. So yeah, for now, all I'm thinking is I just want to be fading this area and potentially long in this area until we get clear acceptance out of this bracket. And it's really that simple. There's a huge area of resistance overhead. So we've got obviously monthly VWAP, previous quarter's VWAP, and then the 30-day rolling previous month value low and a naked weekly VWAP at 87k. So there's all of this zone is just potentially trouble. So I'm doubtful that we get a sustained break to the upside, and if we do, I'm probably just going to be looking to short this area unless we get a clean retest of the composite, and then we can potentially look to play up towards the developing month's value high in that other area of confidence around 89-90k. But yeah, as for whether we get there, I don't know. So it's very sort of slow, the low momentum conditions. So I just didn't want to take this long yesterday, personally, even though it was actually really obvious in the end. So what else to say? We've still got poor lows on Thursday's profile, but the problem is I think if we break down from here, we're probably actually going to go lower, potentially to take out this low. So, I think my high time frame bias is still to the downside, and the reason for that, well, there are numerous reasons for that, but primarily from a technical standpoint, we're obviously massively imbalanced down on the developing year, and unless we can reclaim 86, 87k and show that shift back inside, which would be a really good sign, my bias just remains to the downside. So if we break down from 12 days of balance, do I really want to be looking for longs? Well, maybe not immediately. So for now, I can definitely see us go higher, at least to monthly VWAP, potentially to 87, and then potentially to 89, 90. But as I say, this area is all huge resistance, so I'm not sure that we're going to get there. So there isn't really much to do in terms of fresh trading today until later. I would suggest if we get some kind of rejection up here. I've taken along on BNB. We'll start to look at some alts because we've gone over BTC and we're familiar with it, and nothing's changed. So ETH is consolidating at the composite highs. I think this can potentially get a move higher, maybe up to this area of imbalance and this kind of breaker area around monthly VWAP as well. So that could be a decent pop. So I took along yesterday at 1900. I'm holding a little bit of it. So yeah, if that wants to run, that's fine. Sol is not looking great, but I don't really want to be trading it given the location. So we're just trading around the middle of this area of previous balance. So you can make the argument this is a bearish retest, but just on the basis of where we're trading, it's likely to just chop. So personally not interested here. I do think it ends up going lower. I'm not a huge fan of these highs. So if it does get I think if we get a big rally, it's an opportunity to take swing shorts essentially. So Sol, if we can come and sweep this area, we've got this kind of area of supply and a bit of a gap here. I'll probably just set a line here and just put an alert on it, to be honest. So, not the most convincing highs. Front ran this gap on the hourly. Maybe monthly VWAP comes and converges with that, and maybe we'll have some more confluence there. What have we got on the weekly? Nothing much. It's a very strong downtrend still, so it just makes sense to be bearish on this asset for now. But we are kind of trading back inside the developing month, so maybe we get a rotation higher. I think short term we are going to go higher, right? It's kind of quite clear, but how much higher is the question. So Sol, that's about it. I don't really have much else to say. I've done ETH. BNB I took along this morning, so I was looking for this area. We came back into this area of demand, just swept into this gap and kind of holding around monthly value high. So as long as this holds, maybe we can get a push up to previous month value high, but this is clearly a stiff area of resistance given how much time and volume was put in here and the fact we couldn't get above previous month value high. So I'm not holding my breath, but it's still one of the stronger coins for sure, right? We're trading above. It's one of the only coins that's trading above its 365-day rolling VWAP. Potentially some resistance at 90-day if we can sweep these highs. But from a trend perspective, it's one of the stronger looking coins for sure. Just given where it's trading versus its rolling VWAPs. So I don't mind BNB, but it does need to get back in within the developing week and reclaim this area of consolidation, then potentially new highs. And everything's just very slow and choppy, isn't it? So you just have to pick your spots and be patient. I think that there are good trading opportunities. I mean, this was a good long, this was a good short, but you just have to plan your spots and just be patient. Personally, I don't mind these conditions. It's quite relaxing. You don't need to spend so much time in front of the computer. But yeah, I mean, on the weekly, again, just a big area of resistance up around 87, 86, 87k. So I'm not sure that we're going to break that. Anything else to look at? Just have a look at spaghetti. Probably not very interesting. DIM's going again. DIM looks all right actually. Just consolidated after selling off yesterday. Again, there's not much momentum in it, but it's something that might squeeze higher. Yeah, it's pretty slow, isn't it? So it's it's a very choppy market, but I think there will be decent rotations to play. Even this bracket is good to trade, but I think there'll be a better mean reversion opportunity from higher. Just how much higher is the question, and that really sums it up. So if there's something to update on later, I will. But for now, my basic plan as far as BTC is concerned is just to wait for either a break from balance and then just trade the retest, which I'd rather do to the downside, and that may not come immediately, or a fade somewhere above 85k. I want to see this high swept at least, and if it ends up, if we end up trading up here and I don't take the short up here, you've always got the chance to take it here, right? You're almost always going to get that return pullback. So you can just be very patient and wait for the clean setup, even if it's not immediately apparent. So, ideally what I would like to see is some kind of rally today, maybe a bit of consolidation, spike the highs into resistance. Something like that would be a very clean short setup. But it's very difficult to predict how high we might go. So, bit of a rambling, uninsightful review, and I apologise for that, but there's not much to say, is there? So thanks for tuning in, and I guess next time we'll look at a sort of higher time frame outlook for Bitcoin and go over some scenarios a little bit further ahead. So just to change it up. So yeah, catch you in the next one. Cheers.